The alarm sound filled the command center like nothing Commander Zekthor had ever heard before. It was deep and loud, the kind of sound that meant something impossible was happening. He had been standing at his post for 20 years, watching the screens that showed everything moving through space near their planet. Nothing unusual had ever happened in all that time. Until now, the Velcathian Empire was the most powerful force in this part of the galaxy. They controlled 47 different star systems. Their technology could detect anything moving through space, even the smallest ship or piece of rock. Nothing could enter their territory without them knowing about it. Their empire had stood strong for 3,000 years. They believed nothing could surprise them anymore. Zekthor turned all four of his eyes toward the main display screen. Something was wrong. The numbers on the screen made no sense. Senior Officer Dralin was checking her instruments again and again, her hands moving fast across the controls. She looked frightened, and officers in the Velcathian military were never supposed to show fear. "Commander, we have something out there. It just appeared from nowhere. The sensors show a ship, but this is impossible." Dralin's voice was shaking slightly as she spoke. "The ship is moving at almost the speed of light. Inside our star system. It should not be possible." Zekthor felt his breathing become difficult. Ships did not travel at light speed inside star systems. The dangers were too great. Even tiny pieces of dust could destroy a ship at such speeds. And no ship could reach such velocity without weeks of building up speed. Yet the sensors showed this ship moving faster than anything they had ever seen. "Show me everything," Zekthor ordered. "Tell me what you see." Dralin pulled up more data on the screens. "The ship is about 300 meters long. But Commander, the mass readings are strange. The ship should be much bigger for that weight, or made from materials we have never seen. The computer cannot identify what type of ship this is. It does not match any design in our records. No species we know builds ships like this." The command center became very quiet. Every officer understood what this meant. For 3,000 years, the Velcathian Empire had been the most advanced civilization in this region. They had conquered or made peace with every other species they encountered. Their technology was superior to everyone else. But now, something was out there that their computers could not recognize, something that moved in ways that should be impossible. "What else can you tell me?" Zekthor asked. "Where is it going?" Dralin worked her controls faster. "The ship appeared 20 million kilometers from our outer warning buoys. It is heading toward Velcath Prime, our homeworld, Commander. At current speed, it will reach our planet's orbit in 7 minutes. And, sir, there is something else. The ship is not slowing down. There is no exhaust from engines, no heat signature, no gravitational waves, nothing that should be there when a ship moves through space. 7 minutes. Zekthor's mind raced through possibilities. Was this an attack? A probe from some unknown civilization? An experiment that went wrong? Whatever it was heading straight for the most important planet in the Empire, the homeworld where 12 billion Velcathians lived their lives, never imagining that something like this could threaten them. "Send out a message on all frequencies," Zekthor commanded. "Try to contact them. Tell them they are entering restricted space. Tell them to identify themselves and slow down immediately." The communications officer began working immediately. "Broadcasting now, Commander. Using all standard channels and emergency frequencies." He paused, listening. "No response, sir. The ship is not answering. It is not even acknowledging that we are trying to talk to it. Distance now 15 million kilometers, Dralin reported. Still no change in speed. Still no engine signature. Commander, if this ship maintains its current trajectory and velocity, it will be in our defensive perimeter in less than 6 minutes." Zekthor made his decision. "Alert all defense forces, battle stations throughout the system. Launch all interceptor squadrons. And get me a direct communication line to Empress Valshara. She needs to know about this immediately." Alarm sirens began to sound throughout the orbital defense platform. Red lights flashed in every corridor. Across the entire star system, military vessels began powering up their weapons. Thousands of trained soldiers moved to their stations, preparing for a threat they did not understand. The Velcathian Empire was going to war readiness for the first time in 50 years. On Velcath Prime below, people went about their normal lives. They shopped in markets. They worked in offices. They played with their children in parks. None of them knew that something impossible was racing toward them through the darkness of space. None of them knew that their entire understanding of the galaxy was about to change. "Commander, we have Empress Valshara on the secure channel. an officer announced. Zekthor straightened and activated the communication link. Your Radiance, we have an emergency situation. An unidentified vessel has entered our space. It is moving at 0.97 light speed toward the homeworld. We cannot identify it. We cannot communicate with it. And your Radiance, it appears to be using technology far beyond anything in our databases. There was a moment of silence on the line. Then the Empress spoke, her voice calm but carrying an edge of steel. Explain, Commander. How far beyond our technology? Zekthor looked at the data streaming across his screens. Your Radiance, this ship is moving at speeds that should tear it apart. It generates no detectable energy signature. Our sensors can barely track it. Whatever civilization built this vessel, their capabilities exceed ours by margins we cannot yet measure. Another pause. Then time until the vessel reaches our defensive perimeter? 4 minutes, Your Radiance. Deploy all available forces, Commander, but do not fire unless fired upon. If this is a first contact situation with a superior civilization, I will not be the Empress who started a war through fear. Attempt all possible means of communication. And Commander, keep this channel open. I want to know everything as it happens. Understood, Your Radiance. Zekthor turned back to his crew. You heard the Empress. Full deployment but weapons hold. Continue all attempts at communication, and I want every sensor focused on that ship. If it shows any sign of hostile intent, I want to know immediately. The bridge crew worked with desperate efficiency. More data appeared on the screens. More military vessels launched from orbital platforms and ground bases. The most powerful defense fleet in this region of the galaxy positioned itself between the unknown ship and their homeworld. Commander, something is happening. Dralin suddenly called out. The ship. It is accelerating. Zekthor felt his blood run cold. Accelerating? That was impossible. The ship was already moving at near light speed. There was no known way to accelerate beyond that without entering hyperspace, and hyperspace travel inside a star system was suicide. Yet the sensors did not lie. The impossible ship was doing impossible things, and it was heading straight for them. Captain Jake Morrison sat in his command chair aboard the Earthship Liberty Runner. The view screen in front of him showed a beautiful blue and green planet, growing larger as they approached. He had been traveling through space for 15 years, and the sight of new worlds never got old. This was what he loved about his job in the Colonial Survey Corps, discovering new places and meeting new civilizations. The ship hummed with the familiar sounds of human technology. Everything was working perfectly. The journey from Earth had taken 3 years for them, though much more time had passed for everyone back home. That was how their faster-than-light drive worked. It bent space around the ship, making the journey shorter for the crew inside. How far to the planet? Jake asked his navigation officer. Lieutenant Kate Hughes checked her instruments. About 14 million kilometers, Captain. We should reach standard orbit in 6 minutes if we keep this speed. Jake nodded. This was exciting. Long-range probes had told them that intelligent life existed in this star system. The probes had detected cities, spacecraft, and advanced technology. Humanity was about to make first contact with a completely new civilization. It was the kind of moment that people would remember for centuries. Their mission was simple. Approach peacefully. Make friendly contact. Share knowledge. Learn from each other. Humanity had met 3 other alien species during its expansion into space, and 2 of those meetings had been tense at first. But patience and good communication had led to friendship. Jake hoped this time would be the same. Captain, I am picking up something strange on the sensors. Ensign Carl Martinez was watching his screen carefully. Multiple ships are changing course. They are all heading toward us, moving fast. Jake sat up straighter. How many ships? Carl counted quickly. 12. No, wait, more are launching. 20 now. Make that 36 contacts, Captain. They look like military vessels based on their design and the energy readings. Jake stood and walked over to look at the sensor display. 36 warships were definitely a strong response. Well, we certainly got their attention. Are we still sending our greeting message? Communications Officer Lisa Grant nodded from her station. Yes, Captain. We have been broadcasting since we entered the system. We are sending mathematical sequences, basic chemistry, pictures of Earth and humans. We are telling them we come in peace using 17 different language patterns. Everything from the first contact protocol. Any response from them? Jake asked. Lisa shook her head. Not yet, Captain. We are receiving some transmissions that might be hailing attempts, but I cannot decode their language. The structure is completely different from anything in our database. It might take time to figure out how to talk to them. Jake studied the approaching alien fleet on his screen. The ships were sleek and well-designed. They were accelerating hard to intercept the Liberty Runner. Their technology looked impressive, but it seemed to follow normal physics. These aliens had good ships, but they were not using any faster-than-light systems inside their star system. That was probably a safety rule. Kate, change our course a bit. Let us slow down and give them some room. I do not want them thinking we are hostile. Jake walked back to his command chair. Yes, Captain. Reducing our speed to 0.7 light speed now. First contact situations were always delicate. You had to be patient. You had to be careful. You had to show that you meant no harm while also being ready to defend yourself if necessary. The key was clear communication and avoiding any action that might seem threatening. Captain, this is important. Carl's voice had an edge of worry to it. The alien ships are powering up their weapons. I am seeing energy spikes that look like charging plasma cannons. Maybe particle beam weapons too. Multiple vessels are preparing to fire, sir. The bridge became very quiet. Every crew member understood what this meant. The aliens were not just intercepting them. They were preparing for combat. Jake felt the familiar weight of command settle on his shoulders. He had to make the right decisions now. Lives depended on it. Bring shields to maximum power. Charge our point defense systems, but do not power up the main weapons. I repeat, do not activate main weapons. Jake's voice was calm and steady. Kate, change our course again. Take us parallel to the planet instead of toward it. I want them to see that we are not approaching their homeworld. Course change confirmed, Kate replied, her hands moving over the controls. New heading is set, Lisa. Increase the power on our broadcast. Try adding audio signals if you can figure out how. Make our message impossible to miss. Jake looked at his sensor officer. Carl, keep watching them closely. If anyone fires a weapon or makes any aggressive move, I want to know immediately. The crew worked quickly and efficiently. They had trained for situations like this. Everyone knew their job. The Liberty Runner changed course, moving past the planet instead of toward it. Jake watched the tactical display. The alien ships immediately adjusted their trajectory to follow. They were determined to intercept. They are not backing off, Carl reported. In fact, they are accelerating even more to match our new course. How long until they reach us, Jake asked. At current speeds, about 4 minutes, Captain. 4 minutes. Jake took a deep breath. 4 minutes to make first contact with a species that clearly saw them as a threat. 4 minutes to either start a war or begin a friendship. 4 minutes to represent all of humanity. He pressed the button for the ship-wide communication system. All hands, this is the captain speaking. We are about to make first contact with an unknown alien species. Stay calm. Follow your training. Remember that we represent Earth and all of humanity out here. Whatever happens in the next few minutes, let us make our planet proud. Morrison out, Jake sat back in his chair. He had been in difficult situations before, but never anything quite like this. Humanity had come so far since leaving Earth. They had built ships that could cross vast distances. They had settled new worlds. They had made friends with alien civilizations. But they had also learned hard lessons about the dangers of the galaxy. The Colonial Survey Corps existed for moments like this. They were explorers, not conquerors. Scientists, not soldiers. Though their ships carried weapons, those weapons were for defense only. Humanity had decided long ago that the galaxy had enough violence. Earth would offer friendship first, always. Captain, the alien fleet is getting closer. 3 minutes now. Carl kept his eyes on the sensors. They are maintaining weapons charge. Still targeting us with their fire control systems. Kate looked back at Jake. Captain, should we prepare for evasive maneuvers? Jake thought about it for a moment. Evasive action might make them look guilty or afraid. It might make the aliens think they were preparing to attack. No. Maintain course and speed. We are not running, and we are not threatening. We are simply here to talk. Lisa spoke up from communications. Captain, I think I am making progress with their language. The computer is finding patterns. Give me a few more minutes and I might be able to send them a basic message they can understand. Work as fast as you can. Lisa, we need to talk to them before they decide we are enemies. Jake watched the alien ships on his screen. They were beautiful vessels in their own way. Whoever built them had been doing it for a long time. These were the ships of an established spacefaring civilization. A powerful one. One that probably did not appreciate unknown vessels appearing in their space without warning. He hoped that power came with wisdom. He hoped that these aliens valued life and peace as much as humanity did, because in about 2 minutes they were going to find out. Empress Valshara sat on her throne deep inside the Imperial Palace. Her mind was connected to the defense network through special technology that let her see everything the sensors could see. She could experience the crisis as if she was standing right there on the command platform in space. Around her physical body, holographic images floated in the air, showing real-time information from every sensor in the star system. She watched the unknown ship race through her territory, and one word kept repeating in her mind. Impossible. For 3,000 years, the Velcathian Empire had been the greatest power in this region. They had technologies that other species could only dream about. Their sensor systems could detect the smallest particles from incredible distances. Yet this one small ship made all of that meaningless. Your Radiance. Commander Zekthor's thoughts came through the neural link. The vessel has changed direction. It is no longer heading directly for Velcath Prime. It appears to be entering a course parallel to our planet. What does this mean? Valshara sent back through the connection. What is your tactical assessment? Unknown, Your Radiance. The maneuver could be defensive. Perhaps they are avoiding confrontation. Or it could be tactical. They might be studying our response before deciding on an attack vector. We cannot determine their intentions. Valshara studied the data flowing through her consciousness. The ship was still moving at 0.7 light speed. At such velocity, the ship should be creating massive disturbances as it pushed through space. There should be radiation. There should be particle scatter. There should be gravitational effects. But there was nothing. The ship moved through space as if the normal laws of physics did not apply to it. High Counselor Tekmar. What are your scientists saying? Valshara asked. She brought the elderly scientist into the neural network conversation. Your Radiance. We have no explanation at this time. The scientist's mental voice trembled slightly. This craft operates outside the boundaries of known physics. It generates no exhaust, no gravitational waves, no thermal signature. By every law we understand, what this ship is doing should not be possible. Yet it is happening right in front of us. Then our understanding is incomplete, Valshara stated simply. With respect, Your Radiance. That is putting it mildly. If this civilization can ignore the physical laws that govern all of us, then we are at a terrible disadvantage. Our entire military is designed around conventional physics. Our weapons, our shields, our strategies, everything. If they can simply ignore those principles, then we have no effective defense. Valshara understood the fear in his thoughts. She felt it herself. The Velcathian Empire had conquered or absorbed every species it ever encountered. They had always been the superior force. They had better technology and more powerful weapons. But what if they had just met a civilization that viewed them as primitives? What if 3,000 years of advancement meant nothing compared to whoever was piloting that ship? Commander Zekthor, what is the status of our intercept fleet? She asked. 48 vessels are now in pursuit, Your Radiance. They will reach weapons range in approximately 90 seconds. Fleet Commander Kreshimal is requesting authorization to engage if the unknown vessel does not respond to our final hailing attempts. 90 seconds. 1.5 minutes to make a decision that could echo through history. Valshara could order an attack on the unknown ship. Her forces might be able to destroy it. But what if that ship was just a scout? What if destroying it brought a fleet of similar vessels seeking revenge? Or she could let it continue and possibly appear weak to her own people and to whatever civilization had sent it. Your Radiance, if I may speak. Another consciousness joined the neural link. It was Admiral Kreshitor, commander of the Imperial Defense Fleet. The craft has made no overtly hostile moves. It changed course away from our homeworld when our fleet deployed. This suggests intelligence and restraint. These may not be enemies, or it could be reconnaissance, another voice cut in. General Veklan, head of Imperial Security. They might be studying our defenses before launching a full-scale invasion. This could be the calm before the storm. Valshara listened to both arguments. Both were valid. Both were possible. She had to decide based on incomplete information and hope she was right. Commander Zekthor, order the fleet to maintain pursuit but do not engage. Continue all attempts at communication on every possible frequency. If this is a peaceful contact, I will not be remembered as the Empress who started a war because of fear. Acknowledged, Your Radiance. Zekthor's thoughts carried a note of concern. But I must warn you that if the craft does prove hostile, our window for effective defensive action is closing rapidly. The closer it gets, the less time we have to respond. I understand the risk, Commander. Maintain pursuit. Do not fire. Valshara watched through dozens of sensor feeds as her fleet closed on the alien vessel, 48 of the Empire's finest warships, each one equipped with weapons that could crack open planets, each one crewed by trained warriors who had never known defeat. And she wondered if all of that would be enough against whoever had built the impossible ship. Suddenly, every alarm in the defense network screamed at once. Valshara's consciousness reeled as massive amounts of new data flooded in. The alien craft had activated something. Energy readings spiked to levels that should not be possible from such a small vessel, but these were not weapon signatures. This was something else. Your Radiance, Zekthor's mental voice carried pure shock. The craft has activated some kind of defensive field. It is bending space-time around itself. The field extends for 10,000 kilometers in every direction. We have never seen anything like this. Is it a weapon or a shield? Valshara demanded. Unknown, Your Radiance. But the energy output required to generate such a field. Zekthor paused, as if struggling to believe his own sensors. It exceeds the total power generation of our entire homeworld. All 12 billion people, all our cities, all our industries combined produce less energy than this one ship is generating right now. And it is only 300 meters long. High Counselor Tekmar's presence in the neural link became agitated. By the Ancient Ones, this cannot be real. That level of energy density should create a singularity, a black hole. The ship should collapse in on itself and take everything nearby with it. This defies every principle of physics we know. But the ship did not collapse. It did not create a black hole. It continued moving serenely through the Velkathian star system, wrapped in impossible power, and it kept broadcasting its message, whatever that message was. A message that no one in the Empire could understand because their languages were completely different. Valshara felt something she had not experienced in many years. True uncertainty. For her entire reign, she had known that the Empire was supreme. She had known that they could handle any threat. She had known that their technology and their military could protect them from anything. Now all of that certainty was gone. Commander, can any of our weapons penetrate that field? She asked, though she already suspected the answer. The scientists are analyzing it now, Your Radiance. But based on preliminary data, they believe our weapons would be ineffective. The field appears to redirect or absorb incoming energy. Kinetic weapons would likely be deflected by the space-time distortion. Your Radiance, we may be completely unable to harm this vessel even if we wanted to. Valshara absorbed this information. They had no way to communicate with the ship. They had no way to fight it. All they could do was watch as it traveled through their space, demonstrating technology that made the Empire's greatest achievements seem like children's toys. Continue all attempts at communication, Valshara ordered, and have our best linguists work on decoding their transmissions. If we cannot fight them, then we must talk to them. We must understand who they are and what they want. The future of the Empire may depend on it. As her fleet continued to shadow, the alien vessel Valshara realized that the Velkathian Empire had just encountered something that would change everything. The galaxy was far larger and more mysterious than they had ever imagined. And somewhere out there was a civilization that could do things the Empire had thought impossible. The only question now was whether these mysterious beings came in peace or in war. Captain, they really do not look happy to see us. Lieutenant Kate Hughes was studying the tactical display. The alien fleet had closed to within 50,000 kilometers. That was close enough that the Liberty Runner's external cameras could now see the individual ships clearly. They were beautiful in a deadly sort of way. Jake Morrison looked at the alien vessels with professional interest. The designs were sleek and efficient. Every line suggested purpose and refined engineering. These were ships built for war, Ships that had probably been fighting for centuries. The civilization that built them had clearly been creating warships for a very long time. They knew what they were doing. Lisa, any progress on translating their language? Jake asked his communications officer. Lisa Grant shook her head but looked hopeful. The computer is making some progress, Captain. Their transmissions are very structured and organized, which helps. I am finding mathematical correlations and what might be references to time, but it will take more work. Maybe hours, maybe even days before we can have a real conversation. We might not have hours, Jake said quietly. Carl, what is our defensive status? Shields are at maximum power, Captain. All point defense systems are online and tracking every contact. Ensign Carl Martinez kept his eyes on his instruments. I am detecting active targeting locks from at least 30 of those vessels. They are definitely painting us with their fire control systems. They have solutions plotted and are ready to fire. What kind of weapons are they using? Jake wanted to know everything he could about what they might be facing. Carl studied his readings. Their weapons look quite advanced, Captain. I'm seeing high-energy plasma systems. Probably particle beam projectors, too. And what might be kinetic missiles, likely with fusion warheads based on the energy signatures. Powerful weapons, but conventional. Nothing exotic. Jake nodded slowly. Dangerous weapons for sure, but nothing that suggested antimatter technology or anything beyond normal physics. That was something at least. Their technology was impressive but understandable. Kate, keep us on this parallel course. Reduce speed to 0.5 light. Nice and slow. Show them we mean no harm. Reducing to 0.5 light speed now, Captain, Kate confirmed. The Liberty runner slowed smoothly. Inside the ship, no one felt any change because of the inertial dampeners. But outside, the vessel's velocity decreased noticeably. The alien fleet responded immediately, adjusting their own speed to match. Captain, we are receiving a new transmission. Lisa's voice carried excitement. Different frequency, different modulation pattern. This might be from their command authority rather than the military fleet, someone higher up in their chain of command. Can you understand any of it? Jake asked. Partially, Captain. The computer is detecting what might be questions, interrogative structures. I think they are asking us something. Probably wanting to know who we are and what we want. Jake stood and walked over to the communications station. Can we send them images? Visual information might work better than words right now. Already included in our first contact package, Captain. We have been sending them images of Earth, our solar system, basic human biology and mathematical concepts. All the standard protocol materials. Add more information. Send them pictures of our cities, our ships, our scientific achievements, but also include our art, our music, pictures of families. Make it personal. Show them we are real people, not just another military force. Lisa's hands moved quickly over her controls. Compiling the data now, Captain. Adding cultural information to the transmission package. This should give them a much better picture of who we are. As the enhanced transmission broadcast toward the alien fleet, Jake returned to his command chair. He thought about all the training exercises they had done, all the simulations of first contact scenarios. None of them had really prepared him for the reality. The waiting was the hardest part. Not knowing what would happen next. Hoping that he was making the right choices. Captain, something is changing. Carl spoke up suddenly. The alien ships are slowing down. They are backing off. Jake leaned forward in his seat. Are their weapons still charged? Yes, sir. Still showing full power to weapon systems, but the targeting locks are fluctuating, becoming unstable. It looks like they are hesitating, like they are not sure what to do with us. Or debating what to do, Jake said thoughtfully. They are probably having the same kind of discussion we are, trying to decide if we are friends or enemies. Captain, I have good news. Lisa's voice was excited. The computer has made a breakthrough. It has identified a basic grammatical structure in their language, not complete but enough. I think I can attempt a simple response. Something they might be able to understand. Do it now, Jake ordered. Tell them we come in peace. Make it clear we are explorers, not warriors. Tell them we want to talk, not fight. Lisa worked frantically. Her fingers flew across her console as she cross-referenced the computer's linguistic analysis with their intended message. Transmitting now, Captain. It is very basic, probably grammatically incorrect, but it should convey that our intentions are peaceful. The bridge became silent as everyone waited. Long seconds passed. On the tactical display, the alien fleet continued to decelerate. The distance between the Liberty runner and the alien ships was growing. They were creating space. That seemed like a good sign. Then something changed on the display. Carl spoke first. "Captain, they are powering down their weapons, all of them. Every alien warship is taking their weapons offline simultaneously." Jake felt relief wash over him. He had not realized how tense he had been until that moment. "What about their shields?" "Shields are dropping to minimal levels, sir. They are standing down. They are showing us they are not hostile." "Match their posture exactly," Jake said. "Shields to minimum. Power down all weapon systems. Show them we understand. Show them we are doing the same thing they are." Kate and Carl worked together to adjust the ship's defensive systems. The Liberty Runner's shields dropped to low power. Weapons went offline. The ship was now in a peaceful configuration just like the alien fleet. "Captain, we are receiving another transmission from them." Lisa was smiling now. "They are using the same basic grammatical structure we tried. They are attempting to speak our language, or at least communicate in a way we can understand." "What is the message?" Jake asked eagerly. Lisa looked at her screen, then back at the captain. Her expression showed wonder. "They are saying welcome. We wish understanding. Who are you?" Jake felt a smile spread across his face. This was it. This was the moment that made all the years of travel worthwhile. First contact. Real communication. A chance to make friends with a completely new civilization. Lisa, send them this message. "We are humanity. We come from a planet called Earth. We seek friendship. May we talk with you?" "Transmitting now, Captain." As the message broadcast toward the alien fleet, Jake looked around at his crew. Everyone was smiling. Some had tears in their eyes. They had done it. They had traveled across vast distances to find another intelligent species, and instead of fighting, they were talking. Instead of making war, they were making peace. This is what humanity was meant to do, Jake thought. Not conquer, not dominate, but reach out across the darkness of space and find others to share it with. Find others to learn from and teach. Find friends among the stars. Kate looked back from her station. "Captain, what do we do now?" Jake smiled. "Now, Lieutenant, we do what humans do best. We talk, we listen, we learn, and we make new friends." 3 days had passed since the impossible ship arrived. Now Empress Valshara stood in the grand reception hall of the Imperial Palace. She wore her formal regalia, the elaborate robes and crown that marked her position as ruler of the Velcathian Empire. But despite the formal setting, she felt more nervous than she had in decades. The humans were coming. Actually walking into her palace. Meeting her face to face. 3 days ago, that would have seemed impossible. 3 days ago, she had not even known humans existed. Now everything had changed. The great doors opened and Captain Jake Morrison entered. He led a small group of 4 other humans. Valshara had learned that they were carefully chosen to represent different aspects of human civilization. A scientist, a diplomat, an engineer, an artist. They walked with a relaxed confidence that somehow did not seem arrogant. Just comfortable. Valshara had spent the last 3 days learning everything she could about humanity. What she discovered had shaken her understanding of how the galaxy worked. The humans were young, incredibly young. They had only achieved spaceflight 400 of their years ago. They had only developed faster than light travel 100 years before that. By every measure, they should be primitives, barely able to leave their home star system. Instead, their technology was superior to the Velcathian empires in almost every important way. Their ships were faster, their power generation was more efficient, their material science was more advanced. It made no sense according to how civilization was supposed to develop. High Counselor Tekmar had explained it to her. Humans approach science differently than other species. Most civilizations, including the Velcathians, developed a technology and then spent centuries perfecting it, slowly making it better, refining it over generations. Humans did not do that. They constantly invented completely new approaches. They did not perfect plasma weapons, they invented antimatter beams. They did not optimize gravity drives, they bent space itself. It was reckless. It was dangerous. It was absolutely brilliant. Captain Morrison approached the throne. He performed what Valshara had learned was a human gesture of respect. He placed his right hand over his heart and bowed his head slightly. The translation device he wore rendered his words into perfect Velcathian language. "Empress Valshara, on behalf of all humanity and the Terran Colonial Authority, I bring greetings. We offer our hand in friendship." Valshara did something that made her court gasp. She descended from her throne. An empress never came down to meet visitors. It was against protocol. But these were not ordinary visitors. These were representatives of a civilization that had just proven the Empire was not as advanced as they thought. Captain Morrison, your arrival has given the Velcathian Empire much to think about. You and your people have disrupted our understanding of what is possible in this galaxy. Morrison smiled, and Valshara had learned enough about human expressions to recognize warmth and friendliness in the gesture. I apologize for the dramatic entrance, Empress. We honestly had no idea we would cause such alarm. Our scientists will be quite embarrassed to learn that our drive system was so disruptive to your sensor networks. Disruptive is putting it mildly, Captain. Your vessel appeared to violate the fundamental laws of physics. My scientists spent 3 days trying to understand how you achieved such velocity without generating any detectable energy signatures. One of the human delegation stepped forward. A woman with kind eyes and gray hair. This was Dr. Helen Martinez, the scientific advisor. If I may explain, Empress, our drive system does not actually move the ship through space. It compresses space-time in front of the vessel and expands it behind. The ship itself remains stationary within a bubble of normal space-time. From your perspective, we appeared to be moving at incredible speeds. From our perspective, we were standing still while space moved around us. High Counselor Tekmar, standing beside the throne, made a gesture of amazement. Remarkable. We have theories about such drives, but the energy requirement seemed impossible to achieve. How do you generate sufficient power for such technology? Dr. Martinez smiled in a way that suggested she had been asked this question many times. Controlled matter-antimatter reactions, channeled through frameworks made from exotic matter. Once you solve the containment problems, it becomes quite efficient. Quite efficient, Tekmar repeated, his voice faint with shock. You produce antimatter in quantities sufficient to power starship drives and you consider it efficient. We can barely produce microscopic amounts in laboratory conditions. Valshara raised a hand to stop the technical discussion. There would be time for that later. Captain Morrison, in your initial communications, you stated that humanity seeks friendship. What exactly does that mean? Morrison met her gaze directly. Valshara had learned this was a sign of honesty and respect in human culture, not aggression as she had first thought. It means we want to learn from you, Empress, and we want to share what we know with you. We seek cultural exchange, scientific cooperation, mutual defense agreements if you wish. We believe that the galaxy is vast and full of unknowns. Allies are more valuable than conquered subjects. Partners are more useful than defeated enemies. The words hung in the air of the Great Hall. The Velcathian Empire had built itself through conquest. Every species they encountered had either submitted to their rule or been destroyed. The concept of voluntary partnership between equals was completely foreign to them. You possess clearly superior technology, Valshara said carefully. You could dictate terms to us. You could demand whatever you wanted. Why offer friendship instead of simply taking what you wish? Morrison's expression became serious. His voice took on a tone that suggested he was sharing something important. Because, Empress, humanity learned a terrible lesson in our history. Power alone does not create lasting peace. Superior technology alone does not guarantee survival. We nearly destroyed ourselves several times before we understood that cooperation is stronger than any weapon. Understanding is more powerful than conquest. He gestured to his companions. Each person standing here represents a different nation from Earth. Once our ancestors fought terrible wars against each other. Wars that devastated entire continents. Wars that nearly ended our species completely, but we chose a different path. We chose to find unity through our diversity. We chose to find strength through cooperation rather than domination. Valshara thought about his words. Something about them resonated deep within her. A truth she had always suspected but never voiced. The Empire's strength came from unity, yes, but that unity was enforced through fear and overwhelming military power. What if there was another way? What if there was a better way? You present a compelling vision, Captain Morrison, but the Velcathian Empire has existed for 3,000 years. Our ways are deeply established. Our traditions run deep. Change will not come easily to us. We do not expect easy or fast change, Empress, Morrison replied. All we ask is that you consider the possibility. Meet with us, talk with us. Let our peoples learn from each other. Let us share knowledge and culture. And perhaps over time, we can build something together that is better than either of us could achieve alone. Valshara looked around her throne room. at her advisors, her generals, her scientists. She saw uncertainty in their body language, fear of the unknown, but she also saw something else: curiosity, wonder, and hope. These impossible humans had appeared from nowhere. They traveled at speeds that seemed to defy reality. They wielded technology that made the Empire's greatest achievements look primitive. And rather than use that power to conquer, they offered friendship. Rather than demand submission, they requested dialogue. Perhaps Valshara thought the most impossible thing about the humans was not their technology. It was their philosophy, their belief that cooperation was better than conquest, their conviction that friends were more valuable than subjects. Very well, Captain Morrison. Valshara made her decision. Let us talk. Let us learn from each other. Let us explore what might be possible if our two civilizations work together rather than against each other. Perhaps together we can discover things neither of us could find alone. Morrison's face showed joy, a genuine happiness that Valshara found she could recognize and appreciate. That is all we could hope for, Empress. Thank you. As the two delegations began to mingle, the humans and the Velcathians exchanged greetings and curious questions. Valshara watched her rigid, formal scientists begin to relax as they talked with the human researchers. She saw her military officers discussing ship designs with obvious interest, and she felt something she had not experienced in many years: true excitement for the future. Not a future built on conquest and fear, but a future built on cooperation and shared discovery. A future where two very different civilizations could learn from each other and grow stronger together. The panic in the Empire was over. What came next would be far more interesting. 6 months had passed since first contact. The Liberty Runner now sat in orbit around Velcath Prime, preparing to depart for the long journey back to Earth. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge, watching the beautiful blue and green planet slowly shrink on the view screen. So much had changed in half a year. The ship's cargo holds were full, but not with conquered treasure or tribute from a defeated people. Instead, they carried gifts freely given, cultural artifacts that the Velcathians wanted to share, scientific data that both civilizations had exchanged, art and music and literature translated into forms that humans could experience and appreciate, and most importantly, several Velcathian citizens who had volunteered to visit Earth and learn about humanity firsthand. Courses plotted and ready, Captain. Lieutenant Kate Hughes worked at her navigation console. We should reach Earth in about 3 years our time, though of course more time will pass back home because of how the drive works. What about our guests? Are they settled in their quarters? Jake asked. Kate smiled. Settled in and very excited, sir. High Counselor Tekmar has already started writing his observations about human engineering principles. I think he has filled 3 data tablets with notes already. Jake chuckled. The elderly Velcathian scientist had been like a child in a candy store for 6 months. He asked endless questions about everything: how human antimatter containment worked, why humans built their ships the way they did, even questions about human music and art. The cultural exchange was benefiting both civilizations greatly. During these 6 months, Jake had learned a lot about the Velcathian Empire. They were an old civilization, very old. They had been exploring space for 3,000 years. They had refined their technologies over countless generations. They knew how to do things efficiently and reliably. Their knowledge of physics and engineering was deep and thorough, but they had also become stuck in their ways. They improved existing technology slowly over centuries. They rarely invented something completely new. When humans showed them antimatter power generation, it was not that the Velcathians could not understand it. It was that they had never thought to try it. They had been perfecting fusion power for so long that they never considered other options. The cultural exchange went both ways. Humans learned from the Velcathians too. Their materials science was incredibly advanced. They could create alloys and composites that humans had not even theorized. Their medical technology was remarkable. They had eliminated almost all diseases in their population, and their understanding of orbital mechanics and stellar navigation was unmatched. It turned out that young, innovative humans and old, experienced Velcathians complemented each other perfectly. Humans brought new ideas and bold approaches. Velcathians brought refinement and deep knowledge. Together, they were discovering things neither could have found alone. Jake had spent a lot of time with Empress Valshara over the past 6 months. She was a remarkable leader, intelligent, thoughtful, and brave enough to change her mind when presented with new information. She had begun the slow process of transforming the Velcathian Empire from a conquest-based civilization into something new. Something based more on cooperation than domination. It would not be easy. 3,000 years of tradition did not change overnight. Many in the Empire resisted the new ideas. Many generals and officials believed in the old ways, but Valshara was determined. She had seen what cooperation with humanity could achieve. She wanted that for all the species in the Empire. The communication system chimed. Jake pressed the button. "Morrison here, Captain. This is Tech Mar." The High Counselor's voice came through clearly. The translation technology had improved dramatically over 6 months. "I wanted to thank you personally before we depart. What you and your people have shared with us is invaluable. You have given us new ways to think about old problems. The feeling is mutual, Counselor. Your people have taught us a great deal as well. I think this partnership is going to benefit both our civilizations for a long time to come." "I agree, Captain. And I am very much looking forward to seeing Earth, to meet more humans, to visit your universities and research centers. There is so much to learn. We will make sure you see everything you want to see, Counselor. Get some rest. The journey will be long." Jake closed the channel and looked at his crew. They had accomplished something amazing. They had traveled farther than any humans before them. They had made first contact with a powerful alien empire. And instead of starting a war, they had started a friendship. Lisa Grant looked back from her communications station. "Captain, we are receiving a final transmission from Empress Valshara. She wants to speak with you personally." "Put her through, Lisa." The screen changed to show the Empress sitting in her private chambers. She was not wearing her formal regalia now, just simple robes. She looked more relaxed than Jake had ever seen her. "Captain Morrison, I wanted to say goodbye personally, and to thank you." "Thank us? For what, Empress?" "For showing us a better way." Valshara's expression was sincere. "For 3,000 years, we believed power and conquest were the only paths to security and greatness. You showed us that cooperation and friendship can be stronger. That understanding between different peoples is more valuable than dominance over them. You have changed the course of the entire Velcathian Empire. We only shared what we learned from our own history, Empress. Humanity made many mistakes before we figured out how to work together. We nearly destroyed ourselves several times. We are just grateful we could help you avoid making the same mistakes. And we are grateful that you came in peace rather than in conquest. If your first response to us had been violence, things would be very different now. The galaxy is better because humanity chose friendship over fear." Jake smiled. "Take care of our people while we are gone, Empress. The human scientists and diplomats who are staying here to continue the exchange program. They will be honored guests, Captain, as your delegates will be honored when they reach Earth. Safe travels to you and your crew. May we meet again soon." The screen went dark. Jake sat back in his chair and took a deep breath. It was time to go home. Time to report on what they had found. Time to tell Earth that humanity was no longer alone in this part of the galaxy, that they had friends among the stars. "Kate, engage the drive when ready. Let us go home." "Engaging drive now, Captain." The Liberty Runner's engines hummed as they powered up. Space around the ship began to compress and expand as the drive created its bubble of warped space-time. To anyone watching from outside, the ship would seem to accelerate to impossible speeds. But inside, everything was calm and normal. Jake thought about everything that had happened. 6 months ago, they had arrived in Velcathian space and caused a panic. The Empire had seen them as a threat, an impossibility, something that broke all their rules about how the universe worked. But through patience and communication, through showing their peaceful intentions, they had turned potential enemies into friends. That was what humanity did best. Not conquer, not dominate, but reach out across the vast darkness of space and find others to share it with, find others to learn from and to teach, find friendship in unexpected places. Somewhere on Velcath Prime, Empress Valshara was probably meeting with her council, probably discussing the next steps in transforming the Empire. It would be difficult. There would be resistance. But Jake believed she would succeed. She was strong enough, wise enough, and now she had the support of humanity to help her. The stars awaited. Full of wonders yet to be discovered, full of civilizations yet to be met, full of friends yet to be made, and humanity, young and bold and hopeful, was ready for whatever came next. Carl spoke up from his station. "Captain, all systems showing green. Drive operating at optimal efficiency. We are on our way home. Jake looked around at his crew. Everyone was smiling. They had done something incredible. Something that would be remembered for centuries. They had made first contact and turned potential war into lasting peace. They had shown that humanity's greatest strength was not its technology or its weapons. It was its ability to make friends. Well done, everyone, Jake said quietly. You represented humanity well. Now let us get home and tell everyone what we found out here. Tell them about our new friends. Tell them about the Velcathian Empire. Tell them that the galaxy is bigger and more wonderful than we ever imagined. As the Liberty Runner raced through space toward Earth, Jake settled back in his command chair. The journey would be long, but he did not mind. He had time to think, time to write his reports, time to prepare humanity for its new role in the galaxy, not as conquerors, not as dominators, but as friends, as partners, as teachers and students. The panic in the Empire had ended. In its place was something better, something more valuable, understanding, cooperation, friendship, and the promise of a future where two very different civilizations could work together to achieve things neither could accomplish alone. That future started now, and Jake Morrison could not wait to see where it led.